So then, Rally Japan has been and gone. Let's talk about some of the different storylines that come from it. I think the first one has got to be Toyota's utter dominance on tarmac in the Rally 1 era. I've been going back through, and I think Hyundai, if you include, say, the Monte Carlo as part of this, only won 5 tarmac rallies in the Rally 1 era, and all of them were during the hybrid era, the most recent one being Oit Tanak on the CER in 2024. I think that is the case. I think that is the most recent Hyundai win on a tarmac rally. I mean, Croatia very nearly came to that it was going to be a Neuville win, obviously, but Toyota just had the best machine. In addition to that, there was the win for Sebastian Loeb in 2022, and that was an M Sport win. But the thing is, Monty is very much its own beast. Toyota managed to get this formula down to a T, and especially on tarmac. Now, maybe it's because they played it a certain way, and so as a result, when you look at the type of rallies that Hyundai tend to do better on, I mean, in 22 we have the win for Tanak in Ypres. We have the win for Neuville here in Japan. In addition to that, when you have a look at 23, it's Neuville on the CER. In 24, it's Tanak on the CER. You can kind of tell what the trend is with those rallies. Those are rallies that are typically a bit more varied. I mean, Japan sort of bucks the trend there. Japan is a lot more smooth at tarmac, a bit like you see in Catalonia or Islas Canarias in most recent years. But Croatia and the CER were ones that could be a bit more rough, a bit more broken up. And so if you build your tarmac spec car more towards a circuit racer mentality, as Toyota would be able to do successfully, I mean, look at their WEC program, look at the fact that they used to have an F1 program. Granted, we're talking a decade and a half ago, but you have a lot of key personnel who are still around. You can kind of get why they were so good on tarmac. I mean, you look at the Rally 2 machinery as well, and you look at the fact that second and third of the podium in Rally 2 here were also Toyota GR Yaris Rally 2s. They understand how to make this work as a company. It's not just a thing of the drivers being geared towards it, because, well, look at who Hyundai put forward. It's a thing of Toyota managed to get this right. The lead Hyundai was Adrian Formeau 2.5 minutes off of the win. Adrian Formeau is a capable tarmac driver as well. Thierry Neuville has won Japan before. Hayden Paddon is a European rally champion and has won events primarily on tarmac whilst he's been doing ERC runs. So it's not a thing of, it's that Hyundai didn't have drivers who were skilled at tarmac rallies. It's that Toyota were just better. And you can see that with the fact that the last tarmac rally of the Rally 1 era has a Toyota lockout of the top 4. Could have been the top 5 had it not been for that crash for Oliver Solberg. But it is, regardless, a lockout of the top 4. So well done to them. And well done to Elfyn Evans. Like, Evans doesn't get the reputation that he deserves as a capable tarmac driver, because you probably think of ones like, was it Monty 22 when he got stuck on the edge of the road? But I always think of Corsica. Was it 18 or 19? I think it was 19. Because it was whichever year Phil Mills wasn't his co-driver for the event. Because Dan Barrett had gotten injured in a crash in Mexico. And what I remember in particular about that was that he was battling Neuville so closely all the way up until he got a puncture. I mean, he'd been a rally winner by that point because he won the DMAC in Wales, but he was still chasing that second rally win. He is so capable on tarmac, and he managed to just make it work here. He bested Ogier, and I would say Ogier is probably the best tarmac driver out there. I think you could tell what kind of a level of performance the drivers are at this weekend, especially the Toyota camp. that Katsuta was gutted to be 4th, gutted to be a minute off the win after 3 hours of competition. He said, "Oh, I've made so many mistakes." Bear in mind, this is one of Katsuta's better events, yet he was a minute off the pace at the end of it. And he's won twice this season. This would be one of the events that I would have put down as this is a good one for Katsuta. It's Japan, it's Finland, and then it's Sweden. Maybe as well the Safari, which he did win. And then he won in Croatia, which was fantastic. But it tells you how good the Japanese driver is, that he was gutted to be a minute off of probably the greatest active WRC driver to not have won a world title, and the greatest of all time. That tells you something about how competitive Taka is. It tells you how much he's developed. And speaking of developments further, let's talk a little bit about Rally 2, because Yuki Yamamoto gets a podium. Well done to Yamamoto on that one. And it's another proof that the Toyota Junior program is working. We saw it with Jasper Vahr, the first non-Japanese driver to be in the Challenge program last weekend with the Royal Rally of Scandinavia. But ahead of him, you had Alejandro Cachon, who was battling all the way until the power stage when he span, hit a tree, managed to keep going and keep second overall. But it's a win for the Lancia. I don't know, is it its first top level start outside of Europe? As in, even in terms of continental championships. I think it is for the Ypsilon. But Grosjean and Alexandrov, I mean, they've been here a couple of times, haven't they? Well done for getting the win in Rally 2. Elsewhere behind them, it was Emil Lindholm and Hiroki Arai rounding out the top 5, with Norihiko Katsuta just behind. But yeah, it was really well done by a lot of different drivers this weekend. And I mean, I want to briefly talk about Hayden Paddon because of the fact that this is the last of his original run of rallies. He was only signed on to do 3. And it's weird because I think we were only really expected to see Sordo for a couple as well. I don't know what the case is with Lappy, if Lappy's looking at doing a half season or what in particular, but it would be lovely to see Paddon out again. It'd be lovely to see him on a gravel rally, because although he did win on the tarmac in the ERC, I remember most strongly the one for Ceredigion. At the same time, he's a gravel driver. He is a gravel driver by background. It's a bit like a kind of inverse of what happened with Danny Sordo, where Sordo is such a capable tarmac ace. His first win ended up coming, 2013 Deutschland? And yet, most of his wins are actually in Sardinia, flat out. But they're rough gravel rallies. I'd love to see Paddon behind the wheel again, especially in a Rally 1 car, because I just want to see him competing at the top level. He's a driver who deserves to do so. You don't become a 2-time European Rally champion for nothing. And from there, I do want to talk about the standings a little bit. Because at the end of this, Elfyn Evans now has a 20-point lead in the championship. He's on 151, Katsuta's in second on 131, and then third place is Oliver Solberg on 102. 49 points between first and third. Sami Pyre's in fourth on 96, Oje's in fifth on 90, and then 89 points, 6th place, top Hyundai, Adrien Fourmeau. Thierry Neuville, the 2024 champion, is on 73 points. He's under half of what the championship leader's on. Then after that, you have Paddon and Lappy tied on 21 points. And then you get into your Rally 2 machinery before you get to the Fords and Sordo. So, could this be a season for Evans? It's starting to look like it. And that's because of several factors. One of them is Ogier's just rotten luck. The Safari or Portugal. There are two moments there that we're talking about, which in each of them, Ogier, you could argue, lost around 20 points, which would put him in that title battle. And given that he's only running, 10 of the 14 rounds, he's still got 2 more dropped rounds to come in. Katsuta has been great this season, and I expect him to have a good couple of rounds coming up. Solberg has been good in the Acropolis before, in the Rally 2 machinery, but his strengths are going to be in Estonia and Finland. I would not rule out Pyre getting his first win at some point this season. I know that I said that somebody was going to, and it ended up being Katsuta, but I would not rule it out for Pyre, and I would not rule it out for Adrian Formeau. I do think there are going to be 6 different event winners this year. We've got 5. Who's going to be the 6th? But I do want to wrap up by, in addition to quickly pointing out manufacturer standings, it's obviously going the way of Toyota, 372, Hyundai's 243, Toyota 2 is on 106, and M Sport Ford are on 85. But I do want to wrap up by talking about Rally Japan itself, because it's a shame that we don't get to follow it so easily, given that it's 9 hours out from UTC. But at the end of the day, it's great to have a proper world championship. And I think we need a rally like Japan. I can't remember if its contract is up at the end of this season. I have a feeling that it might be. But we need a rally like it. We need more rallies in Asia. And we need more tarmac rallies. The fact that we hit the halfway point of the season and now the second half is all gravel. I know it's something I bang on about time and again, and I know we're getting a new tarmac rally next year. I think in at least one situation, aren't we? But let's get some more tarmac events. And let's get some more events in Asia. Whether that means we have to rotate around a couple of different venues, and some venues which I actually do enjoy won't be on the calendar. But yeah, I think it's what we need. But those are just my thoughts, folks. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. As always, thanks for watching, thanks for joining, thanks for continued support for this channel. I'll see you soon for Acropolis Rally Greece, but stick around for daily video uploads talking about the wider world of motorsport. Till then, bye for now.